Welcome to Read My Lips, the book podcast by myself, Catherine Louise. Today in the studio, and I'm super excited about this, today in the studio we have Ben Annett. Welcome to the studio. Lovely to have you. Thanks for coming in.
No, thank you for having me. It's amazing to be in the studio. I've never done anything like this before, so excited to do it.
You'll be hooked now. This is your first go. You'll be like, right, get me back in the studio. So no, fantastic having you in. An absolute pleasure. So we are going to go into your books in a little more detail shortly. But what I am going to do is every week we go through the Sunday Times bestselling list of books. Don't worry, you don't have to have read them, even myself. So it's quite nice really this week, because in previous episodes we had a couple of books and they were so thick. It was like each one of those would have taken me a good couple of months to read each one. So it's nice that we've actually got a varied one. In this particular episode, so I'm going to leave Joe Moyes for a second, because what we also do is we go through Spotlight authors. So I ask the audience, who do you want to see? You know, who do you want to have as the author? And it doesn't necessarily have to be the best-selling list. So Jojo Moyes we're going to go into in a second. But this week is really interesting because in previous episodes, we've had a lot of ones where you kind of go, of course, they're going to be bestsellers. They're always on the top bestsellers list. You know, your Lee Childs, your Dan Browns of the world. This episode, we've got some quite interesting ones. So Gavin and Stacey, who I'm sure, obviously, you know, everybody knows Gavin and Stacey. But Ruth Jones and James Corden, again, I mean, obviously they've got a long, long history together. But what I find quite interesting about both of those, so there was a time, you probably remember James Corden was like in everything. His carpool karaoke and she was obviously doing a lot of work. But a couple of things that I found quite interesting about both of them really though, they obviously first met and started working together, obviously on, you know, Gavin and Stacey. But what I think is quite interesting from her is that she's also known for, obviously, Stella, Little Britain, and she recently won a BAFTA and was awarded an MBE for services to entertainment. But what it does start to talk about is that she was actually a perfectionist head girl at school and applied only to one drama school and got into that particular one. So I think it's quite interesting that she's quite obviously a quite funny character, but equally she is very serious about her productions, her writing, her work, and so on. And the same with James Corden. I think it's interesting now that they're kind of coming back to the scene, starting to do some new work and bits and pieces. And from his point of view as well, there's quite a few things that if you actually go through the book, now I kind of got a couple of chapters in, but it's quite interesting to learn about James Corden and all the other bits and pieces that he does as well, and how they actually, again, I won't spoil it too much, but it was how they came about writing Gavin and Stacey together. So I actually really, really liked this one. I thought it was good, it was fun, it was catchy, and the two of them together seemed to just gel. So it's like an Anton Deck book for kind of comedy and writing.
How did they meet? Wasn't it through like a TV series called like Fat Friends or something?
Yes. They started with Fat Friends, and then they had the idea of Gavin and Stacey, and that's when they kind of then started working on it. So I absolutely loved the series. I thought it was fantastic.
Statement of British culture, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like Christmas Day, Gavin and Stacey, let's watch it.
Yeah, it's like the royal family, isn't it? Those two kind of series goes together. Perfect. I absolutely love this. Again, I'm not surprised this is on the kind of the best-selling. I'd love to read more if I had the time and finish some of the others. But moving on to number 2. So Peter Kay, I mean, again, you know, his books are fantastic. I absolutely love, you know, his work. I don't know about you, but I've been to see Peter Kay live. I can't remember where it was. I think it was in London. And he absolutely kills me. He's just so funny. Some of the things he comes out with. And his book is exactly the same. You know, some of the things that he talks about and some of the things kind of behind the scenes is hilarious. So I absolutely love that one. A few things about Peter Kay as well is that, and again, you're a lot younger than me, so you might not remember this, but you probably do remember obviously the song Armadillo. He actually sold more copies of that than a lot of musicians. So from his point of view, you know, writing or not writing, the comedian side of things is kind of like an add-on to the singing piece as well. So I actually love him. The other thing that I found quite interesting is that when he did a promotion for the John Smith's advert, Peter Kay actually doesn't drink. So
does he not?
No, he was known obviously quite well for the commercial, but he doesn't drink. And it was, unfortunately, it was his late father who died of alcoholism in 1999. So I think part of that was
fair reason.
Exactly. Good reason not to, but you know, brilliant book, very funny. I loved obviously the beginning of it. So hopefully the rest of it is the same. So number 3, Kathy Burke, and we know we all love her.
Yeah.
It's quite funny because this week I feel like we've got some quite funny books rather than, you know, practical or, you know, kind of more of the sort of romance or the crime
more
genres.
Biographies.
More memoirs, etc. Again, I love her, and I think that's probably the kind of the Kevin and Perry thing again from my childhood that I just absolutely loved about her. But I think from Kathy Burke's point of view, it actually, so in a previous episode, we started talking about some quite controversial books, which are basically looking at other people and saying, you do you, I'll do me, and don't worry about what people think and say and do. And a lot of this, again, is about Kathy Burke and kind of saying, I am who I am. I've been successful because of that kind of mentality. And she really portrays this in the book. So again, really interesting. And again, from her point of view, Kathy Burke, her real name is Catherine Lucy Bridget Burke. A lot of the authors are completely different. She obviously is well known for her English actress and comedian. But her, I think, where obviously she did come to fame was, you know, a lot of French and Saunders and some other ones. Unfortunately, though, for her, and again, she talks about her childhood. She lost her mother at age 2 and also her father at a very young age in 1985. So I think a lot of her work has actually shaped, you know, how she has begun as an individual because of some of the things that have happened in her childhood, which is really interesting. And this particular book, you know, I suppose her kind of her trademark sentence is "tell it like it is," which you can see in, I think, a lot of her her productions, and what she comes out with and says. But I absolutely love her in everything that she does. So
and she's real as well, which is nice. Like she's just, I think one of my favourite things I've ever seen her do is where she talks about not having kids. And she's like, why would I want kids? I don't want to spend my money on kids. I'm like, I get that.
And it's true, isn't it? It's not for everybody. That's what, you know, her decisions, but you absolutely love her for her honesty and you know, everything she's come out with.
You see is what you get.
Absolutely. So I'm a massive fan of her. So I would actually like to, you know, I'm hoping that with Christmas coming up, I will actually get time to read more of these rather than just kind of read the first couple of chapters and then that's it.
It's in between that blur, like between Boxing Day, New Year's Day, you don't know what day it is.
And drinking.
Yeah, you're just like, what do I do today? Let's read a book.
yeah, exactly. And there's a big stack, so hopefully we can get our way through these. Now, this one is really interesting. So I hadn't actually heard of Andy Willman, and he's not known for being an author. Sorry, move these out of the way so that you can actually see. I'm actually quite intrigued by this. Again, I've only read the first couple of chapters, but what I didn't realise is that he is pretty much the man behind Top Gear. He did obviously a lot of the producing. They call him the fifth Beatle because he's basically been in all the productions for Diddley Squat, obviously for Jeremy Clarkson's Farm production, and obviously Top Gear and some of the others. So it's interesting that even though he's not an author, he's basically gone through and started to talk about behind the scenes with Jeremy Clarkson and the rest of the team. But so much insight and so much he's kind of talking, he's an old school friend of Jeremy Clarkson's as well. So again, big history there. We actually featured Jeremy Clarkson's new book Diddley Squat in the previous episode as well. So I think it's actually quite nice that they're both on the Sunday Times bestsellers list together, talking about their experiences and so on. But again, you know, really I quite like the cover as well because you generally tend to see the same or similar fronts. And this kind of is a little bit more kind of 1950s-ish. Whether he'll write any more, I don't know, but I think it's interesting to kind of understand from his point of view. And the other thing that I think is quite amusing from his point of view, before TV, he was in a punk band and studied American Russian studies at university. So very varied background. But he even admits he's got a really cool website. He talks about obviously the books and the writing, etc. But he says he admits that his success comes from deep insecurity and fear of failure, which drives him to make great TV. So again, you know, so many times, and this is why I don't tend to review the books and leave a score, because I think every author, and you can probably relate to this, every author puts so much work and passion into writing any type of book. And I actually think it's quite short-sighted for readers even if you don't like that particular genre, if it's not for you, to be able to say, well, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5 because I didn't like it, I think is quite, I just think it's quite poor from a reader's point of view.
Yeah.
We can't, as authors, expect everybody to enjoy our books.
Of course not. If everyone loved your work, you'll be the best-selling author in the world, and there'll be no questions asked about you. But
exactly, yeah.
It's just, people who just do, like, when they leave the comments on Amazon or just in general, you're like, go away.
Yeah. And it's not. I think it's so nice to have that mentality as well, because so many people just, they actually, it eats them inside because they say, oh, I got a bad review, or I got this, or I got that. You're gonna get them. It's inevitable. You just get on, go on to the next one, walk away, ignore them. But that's why I don't kind of review a lot of the books, because a memoir might not necessarily be for me. I prefer a crime or sci-fi or fantasy. But it doesn't mean that those books that I don't enjoy are not very good. They're still, equally as important. They've taken a lot of time, and I think it's very poor to kind of, be critical of other people's work when they've put so much effort in. So I tend to look at the authors behind them and actually why they've written them, why they've done it, and so on. So, and I think, I shouldn't say this, but I think I've saved the best till last. He just, and I'm so sad, by the way, obviously he passed this year, but what I quite liked about Ozzy, I wasn't a massive fan of his music, I've got to admit. It wasn't my scene, but I watched the Osbournes again when I was young. I just love him again because he does, very similar to Kathy Burke, he says it how it is.
Real, down to earth.
Yeah. He, even if you read the snippets from like inside the front cover, from the back cover, the first couple of chapters, it's hilarious. He just says it how it is. And one of the comments, I've just got to say here, people say to me, if you could do it all again, knowing what you know now, would you change anything? I'm like, I'm not going to swear, F no. If I'd been clean and sober, I wouldn't be Ozzy.
Yeah.
If I'd done normal and sensible things, I wouldn't be Ozzy. So for me, I was just... It's just such a good book. And again, I'm halfway through.
Great life.
I really, really want, if there's one book that I finish over Christmas, it's going to be this one, because I just think all of the efforts that he put into writing this was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it's a nice, easy read. It's just, I actually had quite a few giggle moments in it because, some of the sections I just thought, that is him.
Yeah.
He is who he is. And, with him and with Sharon and the rest of the family as well, they have all been like that, which I absolutely adore. So that is one that I am definitely going to finish over Christmas. And again, I'm not surprised that it's on the best-selling list. So that is the top 5. More importantly, I want to know a little bit about yourself and your writing journey. And obviously, you've produced some incredible work. But, tell me a little bit about, your writing. Where did it come from?
Okay.
What inspired you to write kind of the first book or books?
So, books, yeah. So, great question. So, growing up, I've always read books. I've always loved escaping into another world. Like this world is a little bit boring sometimes, or a bit like...
True.
I want to get out of it. It goes to another world where it's probably more dangerous with more death and all that stuff. But so when I was younger, I was obsessed with like vampires, witches, and all that stuff. I loved like Vampire Diaries, Teen Wolf. Did you ever watch Teen Wolf?
I did.
It's such a good TV series, and I just loved it. And I've always had like a creative imagination. Like, I've always loved seeing things differently than anyone else.
Yeah.
So I remember, how the book came around was I was at school. I was 14. I was at school. I was in my PE. I was in PE doing like my first year of year 10, I think it was. And I don't know how it happened, but the classroom went dead. And then all of a sudden, like 2 people in the classroom said like perfect, and the other person said like blood. And then in my head, I went perfect blood. What is the perfect blood? And then from there, my mind just exploded. And that's how book 1 came around.
Love it.
And since then I've called it The Curse, because as an author,
your mind is never off.
Your mind is never off. You're laying there in bed going, "Oh, I'm ready to go to sleep," and then you're like, plot hole. You're like, "Damn it."
Yeah, and it's hard to capture those things, isn't it? I mean, again, in the shower, when you're going to sleep at night, that I think is really important, because you're you're capturing some things that sometimes when you go to sleep and then you wake up in the morning, you think, oh, I had a really great idea and it's gone. Yeah.
Every time I have that, I'm like, I don't care if I'm about to fall asleep. I literally open my phone, write it on my notes. Yeah. Because I use my notes on my phone a lot. I think I've got like over 100 notes of this series, but then other book ideas as well. Yeah. And I'm just like always writing, always developing. So originally, that's how I came up with the idea of book one. Yeah. And then I was like, but what happens in it? Who are the characters? You start to create the world, build the world and everything like that. So I've taken because I've grown up with Vampire Diaries, Teen Wolf, gonna say it, Harry Potter as well. Yep. But then also reading books when I was younger, like Beast Quest, and then the Hunger Games. Who didn't read the Hunger?
Love the Hunger.
Yeah.
Wow. Book 2. The film, the books, everything. What is not to love about them?
I remember reading book 2 in one day because I literally opened it and I thought I can't put it down.
Yeah. Like a good series. Isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. So obviously, as you get older, the more you read, you expand your world. So recently I'm on a lot of Sarah J Maas because she's got so many books. Yeah.
She's sold so many, hasn't she? She's in every shop, she's in every store, airports, you name it.
Yeah, she's just everywhere. Yeah. So I've just over the years I've taken a lot of stuff from other books I've read, I think which we all do. Yeah. And then you have your own ideas, thoughts of how the story's going to begin and end. And originally it was supposed to be a trilogy of books, just 3 books. Yep. But then I realised it couldn't just be 3 books. So then it went to 4 books. Yep. Then it went to 5 books. And now it's at the final is 6 books.
Is it the final though? Is it? Yeah.
Once again, it's that thing of I know obviously this is the main story. Yeah. But there's other stories outside of it. And it's that thing of you could do more there. Yeah. But
spin-offs.
Exactly. But I'm right now I just need to focus on getting the rest of the books out. Yeah. So
show me. Show me.
So this is my first book, Perfect Blood series, Incredible. Number 1.
Love the covers.
Thank you very much. This came out in 2022. Mm-hmm. So I started writing when I was obviously 14. Throughout the years, I was just writing bits here, writing bits there, writing bits book 1, book 6, book 4, book 5, book 2. And then in 2019, I graduated uni. Yep. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go travelling. So I thought I really want to go travel, see the world and everything like that. Yep. 2020, went travelling January 20th, 2020. And then, if you didn't know, a little cold came out.
Something happened that stopped the world. Yeah.
The world shut down. So I got the last flight from Vietnam back to London Heathrow on March 21st. So landed back, and obviously I didn't have a job because I was I quit I quit everything because I wanted to go for a year or 2 years, and I thought, oh God, so what do I do now? And I literally just buckled down and wrote book 1, and I did it in 6 months, and then I got it edited. Really... So I did the development edit, copy and line edit, proofread, cover design, formatting.
Fantastic. But you learned so much, haven't you? When you do your first one, it's how do I do this? Yeah. What do I want it to look like? Exactly. Then you kind of set the scene for...
Yeah, because I'm a self-published author. Yeah. And back then I was like, do I do traditional publishing or self-publishing? And the more I read, the more I researched into it, I thought I'm not going to create a book like my child in some way, and then give it over to traditional publish house, and then them dictate the future of it, or them take
the design,
and I'm like, this is my book, so that's why I went down the self-publishing route, because I thought, like I said, it's my baby. I want to make sure it gets what it's. I know the plan of it. I know how it ends, the entire series. I know what happens in each book. So I was just like, so I went down the.
It's incredible. Yeah, it should be really. Hopefully, you feel really, really proud of what you've achieved. It's fantastic.
I am, but it's scary sometimes because I just look at it and I'm like, I did that.
I did that exactly, and it is again. I think from an accomplishment point of view, it is that feeling of you kind of go through it all and then you just go, I've finished it. It's such a, and then you think, okay, now what? Now what do I do? So, is there anything that you would change? Anything that you think if I did it all over again? And this may be part of the kind of learning process anyway, but is there something that you think, actually, if I did it all again, definitely would have done that differently?
Oh, 2 things come to my mind. One would be start social media earlier. Yep. I was young, so I thought I could start
and that's difficult in itself. That is like a full-time job.
And I thought, I could start social media next week and I'll be TikTok famous by then. Little did I know.
Takes a long slog.
It does. So I'll do social media earlier. Yep. And then I would also probably get more ARC readers in. I had some, but I felt like I should have got more.
Yeah. And it's quite nice having that perspective, isn't it, as well, when they're going through proofreading. But also, I mean, there were some things when I did the same thing with ARC readers, and I thought they've actually got some quite valid points that I hadn't seen, just because you're so engrossed, aren't you, in the kind of the production. What about I mean, obviously you said, okay, so we've got, is it 2, 3?
So we've got book 2 here.
Yeah.
So earlier on you were saying, oh, what do I do when I finish? Literally, as soon as that was finished, I got straight into book 2.
Nice.
So this is the Perfect Blood series, The Golden Tombs of Nazatark.
Yeah.
So that's book 2.
Fantastic.
And then this here
brilliant.
Is book 2.5.
Yeah, love it.
So it's a smaller book. It's gold on the back, black on the front. So book 2.5 was originally supposed to be the opening chapter of book 3.
Okay.
Started writing it, and then I realised, I thought, this is actually kind of going into its own little book.
Yeah.
And I thought, I can't really put this at the front of book 3 because
gotcha.
It will be just too big.
Yeah.
And you just want to keep readers' attention and everything like that. So I decided to do book 2.5.
Yeah, like it.
And then, so this happened, and then I've got book 3 coming out January 2026.
Exciting. Yes. So nearly there.
Nearly there.
Oh, I love it.
Everything's been finalised. I'm currently going through the final format.
Yep.
Cover's done. Everything's done. It's just...
Yeah. I know that feeling. But you're so close, but yet so far. And you just think, right, okay, I'm nearly there. So... And I'm going to ask you something else, from a book's perspective. From your writing and everything else, if you were on a desert island, what one author would you take with you? Or would you be stranded with, I would probably say?
Probably, currently right now, Sarah J. Maas.
Right.
I know I've mentioned her already, but I love the Crescent City novels.
Yep.
Or would it be Rebecca Yarros?
It'd be a very interesting time, though, wouldn't it? I think you wouldn't want to leave the desert island.
No, I wouldn't do an SOS. Yeah. But people come over to me like, do you want a rescue? Like, no.
No. That sounds good. And I suppose why? Is that because of her, again, the interesting side of her creativity when she's writing as well? Because there's so much... The bit that always gets me when you talk about J.K. Rowling as well is that she just... The imagination, the sheer imagination of all the creatures and the characters and everything else, that's, for me, I think, such an intelligent mind to think of all of those things. So again, from Sarah's point of view as well, it'd probably be a really interesting, desert island.
Yeah. So it's just that thing of, it's how she writes as well. It's like, when I remember when I was reading the Crescent City novels, I'm waiting for the next one, so I'm really looking forward to that. But I remember reading them, and it doesn't feel like a book in essence, because I was reading it, and if anyone here reads fantasies, with Sarah J. Maas in the first Crescent City novel, she just throws you in. She's talking about the 50th war 500 years ago, and you're like, I don't actually understand this here. But then once it gets going, she just writes so seamlessly that it's
takes you in, draws you in.
Yeah, but it's it just everything flows, everything's good, and it's everything the internal monologue, the descriptions of the places, the fight scenes, everything about it is fantastic. So that's why I'll probably be a fan.
Do you know what? I think what'd be interesting as well is just to see, obviously not to see inside of her mind, but also how she comes up with those ideas. Yeah. In a previous episode, we were talking about one of the authors who, when they get to the end of the book, they actually don't leave the house, don't shower, get really engrossed. And you think, but that is really engrossed, and that is, into your... So again, I'd love to, if I ever had the opportunity to interview a Sarah or a J.K. Rowling, I would love to know what's in their mind and how they come up with some of those. But I think that's fantastic. And my last question to you as well is, what one thing would you take on that desert island with you? It doesn't have to be books, or it could be books. Oh. But one thing that you think, I could not live without that.
Face cream.
I like it. Nice. Good decision.
Shower gel. I know it sounds pretty silly. Shower gel. I like to be fresh. Yeah. I like to be clean, be fresh, and always. Yep.
See, you're very practical. I've had a couple of other people who've said a Kindle, and I'm thinking, would you have electricity though, or how would you power it? Whereas
I've got Sarah J. Maas for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't need that, would we? We wouldn't need that at all. Well, no, perfect. Thank you so much. So January 2026 is the next one coming out.
Yeah.
I will put all the links below as well, so that you obviously have got access to it, and any social media sites as well to bring it as to bring everybody to your books. But I wish you all the success for your next one. We're also going to go into, and again, I don't know if you've heard of Jojo Moyes, but
okay.
Every week on the episodes, we actually ask the audience, who do they also want to hear, who do we want to feature, which authors do we want to go through? So, it's lovely to hear from your perspective, what's inspired you, what's gone through. And it's great to go through the Sunday Times best-selling books. But I think it doesn't do justice to some other authors that people either haven't heard of, or you probably, like me, I look on TikTok and there are so many different authors that aren't necessarily on the books or the bestsellers list and so on. So one of the things from the audience have basically said is Jojo Moyes, the giver of stars. Now, she's got so many books, and I'll go through in a bit more detail about her. I do like her books. The only caveat I'm going to say here is they can be quite sad. And I'm the same with... so have you ever seen Me Before You?
Yes.
You Before Me. Can't remember which way round it is.
Emilia Clarke and...
Yes.
Yep.
So Jojo Moyes was the lady behind it. She wrote that, and obviously it was turned into an adaptation. Again, I got all the way through the film and couldn't watch the last 10 minutes. I was like, no, I can't do it. It's too sad.
Yeah.
Again, if you are looking for, she does really draw you in. Her writing is incredible. They are amazing, kind of like love stories, but, emotional stories. But they're so sad. And that's for me. I absolutely adore her books, her writing style, her everything, great storylines. But I can't, I'm not a big crier. So for me, I don't know whether I will finish this. And this, again, is not to do with her writing, but if you are into kind of like a drama, any film like that, she is incredible. A couple of interesting facts about her as well is that, so she did actually work at the Independent newspaper. So again, she's always had that, literary publishing, media side of things. And she was inspired by Helena Fielding's Bridget Jones. So again, lovely book or books, amazing films, but again, with that kind of drama, that emotion feeling in it. So she's always been in that space. But what I think is equally interesting, and again for us as kind of self-published authors, is that her first 3 manuscripts were rejected. She found it really crushing, but she persevered. And I think too often, the readers and the audience here can probably relate to this, in that a lot of people tend to think, Jojo Moyes, she's an international bestseller, she's a New York Times bestseller. They wrote a book, they became famous, like you said, TikTok famous, and off they went. In actual fact, if you look at so many of the top authors, they've had multiple rejections. They've queried with literary agents. And it is difficult. It's not always the first one. We've recently featured Lee Child. He said that he actually got to, in his 40s, he became redundant. And he then started obviously writing, sending his books off, and he got rejected multiple times. And he kept going and going and going. Same with J.K. Rowling, exact same. So I think it's really important just to say that, again, she persevered, she got there, but her inspiration came from that. Since then, she's a 2-time winner of Romantic Novelists Association and the Romantic Novel of the Year Award. So again, she's gone from bestseller to even bestseller. Me Before You, see, I should have read this before I actually said about the film. I had planned, but I hadn't known I'd planned here. Me Before You was her 9th book. And obviously 9th. Wow. So a lot of people don't realise that obviously she's had a lot of others. But it was after then that, because her earlier works hadn't sold very well, as soon as that one obviously took off and became a film, she didn't anticipate the huge success. Since then, have a guess how many million books she's sold worldwide?
Over how many copies? Like 9 copies of books? Or...
Yes.
I'm going to say 40 million.
57 million books and translated in 46 languages. So again, I think from that point of view is that a bit like Lee Child, a lot of people know Jack Reacher. Yeah. A lot of people know the film. Yeah. But don't know that she was behind it. So again, Jojo Moyes, I think she's an interesting one to kind of look out for. Her books are amazing. All I'm saying is they make me cry, and I don't like that. So from my point of view, I'm not reading it because I know I'm going to cry, but she is amazing. So I absolutely love her. So that kind of brings me just to say, I wish you all the kind of the successes in, January 2026. Are you nervous or?
Yeah, always nervous because it's that thing of you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to, over Christmas, put my head down, social media-ise, like everything, and get the Perfect Blood series out there.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to follow you. I already follow you on all the social media pages, but I am definitely going to follow your journey.
Thank you.
I wish you every success for that coming out in the new year. And finally, just for the audience's perspective, I would love to hear which other authors you would love to have in the studio with us. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in, and look out for the next couple of episodes.